Hello there, everybody. My name's Kelby, and I sincerely hope you're having a good day. If not, then I hope I can help lift your spirits. Welcome to the Innsmouth Case. A little background about this game is that it's inspired by the novel written by H.P Lovecraft called The Shadow Over Innsmouth. It's a good standalone story concerning sea creatures that sea creatures with ties to eldritch gods or histories. I can't remember much of it now. It's been such a long time since I read it, but it's a book that stuck with me throughout all these years, and it awakened my love for eldritch literature. Let's start a new game. A foreword from Robot Pumpkin Games and Assemble Entertainment. We are fans of the strange world of Innsmouth, but we recognize the problematic beliefs of H.P Lovecraft. This game has been produced by a group of people who believe in inclusion and equality. Yeah. Little context regarding this forward section. H.P Lovecraft is a great author, a mind of creativity unmatched. However, he was also a big xenophobe. So, with that being said, I'd like this to be a reminder for everyone to learn how to enjoy good media without defending the bad habits, outlooks, or personalities of the people who created said media. Let us always remember to consume responsibly and to think critically. Now, without further ado, let us begin the first session of this game. Boston, Massachusetts, 21st of September. The last rays of sunshine filter through the blinds of your empty office. The pathetic stench of whiskey, cold cigarette smoke, and canned ravioli fills the air. The screeching tires and constant beeping of car horns out there on the street tell you that it's gone 8 p.m. People are on their way home, finishing their day. You should join them. You decide to go home. You breathe a deep sigh. It may not have been a successful day, but at least it's over. You're looking forward to a classic Friday night, watching old mystery series at home in sweatpants and getting drunk on cheap booze. Since the early afternoon, you've been staring at the foreboding bottle of liquor at the other end of the room. Up until now, a vague sense of professionalism has kept you from drinking yourself into oblivion. Now nothing stands in the way. Suddenly you hear someone at the door. You say, "Who is it?" The door slowly cracks open with a timid creak. The unknown guest pauses. Then, in a breathy and melodic tone, you hear a woman utter, "Hello?" Your insides cramp. You realize that you haven't cleaned your office at all this year. You invite her in. By the light of the desk lamp, you now see more than a silhouette. A breathtaking woman lights up your office. No doubt older than 40, maybe even 50? Hard to say. Clad in black, a skin-tight dress, culminating in a décolleté that seems to defy the laws of gravity. Smoky eyeshadow, as dark as algae washed ashore. Blonde, coiffed, wavy hair under a dark beret. The faint light of the setting sun catches the strands of her hair, and you wonder how many heads this woman must have turned during her prime. She's completely different from your usual customers. Nervous bankers with sweat stains under their armpits, convinced their wives have something going on with the mailman. Every move she makes is calculated grace. Smooth as an eel, she walks towards you and sits down on the corner of your desk. Which is a little bold, without asking you first, but as a professional, you're not giving anything away. She seems to want to play the seductive damsel in distress. The quiet, amused voice of your subconscious is pleased that this stranger may be sharing your enthusiasm for film noir cliches. A far louder voice is surprised that this woman seems to think that a sexy pose and revealing clothes would win you over, and both voices agree that they don't like being manipulated. You don't think that the stranger perched on your table is trying to recover from a hard working day as a lingerie model, and therefore you see no logical reason for her behavior. When she begins to speak, her voice is smoky and full of promise. "My name is Dahlia Marsh. I'm looking for a private investigator. I was told you're one of the best." She extends a hand which you kiss, and you waggle your eyebrows in the same manner you've seen so often in those classic movies. This woman moves in higher circles and is used to luxury. You can tell by the strong smell of caviar she gives off. If you play this right, you might even be able to increase the fee for this case. Let's get down to business. It's about my daughter Tabitha. She has disappeared. You're pulling out paper and pencil. This is gonna be a walk in the park. A walk in the kidnapped kids' park. When did you last see her and where? The woman puts on a fake smile. We live in Innsmouth. It's a small port town north of Arkham. You frown. This is a bit vague. What was your child doing when you last saw her? What hobbies does she have? Oh, kid stuff. They just run around and play with their yo-yos, that sort of thing. Dahlia nervously combs her hands through her hair. Hold on, yo-yos? Ring ring. Can you hear that? It's the 90s calling and they want their outdated toys back. Dahlia blushes. Normally you would find this quite attractive, but the case of a missing girl beckons, and you're utterly unconvinced by the way this woman pretends to be a mother. Confront her. Something's fishy here. You have a nose for this sort of thing. That's why you became a private investigator. Or to be more precise, that's why you took an online detective course that, for a one-off fee, provided the necessary qualifications. It's time to take your visitor to task. Why did you come to me? Innsmouth is several miles away from here. Why do you want to hire me? I wouldn't even want to hire myself. Dahlia crosses her arms. What do you care? Do you want to be paid or not? Right now, I just want the truth. You're sticking to your principles. That's exactly what your instructor warned you about. Still, it feels good. Dahlia takes a step back and releases her tightly crossed arms. I already tried loads of other investigators, any who seemed trustworthy really, but no luck. That's why I'm coming to you. Ouch. What does your daughter look like? She's only 8, and the sweetest girl you can imagine. She's been missing without a trace since last week. None of her schoolmates have seen her, and no one knows where she might have gone. She hands you a photo. Look, this is my little munchkin. Jesus. Good heavens. Is this supposed to be a joke? Is that really the face of a child? Or a shoddy photo edit? Are you being filmed as part of a reality TV show? A bit of stomach acid and the last bite of lunch slowly, but surely, make their way up into the back of your mouth. You swallow it and pull a face. Dahlia continues to look at you hopefully. She obviously didn't notice your little mishap. That was close and could have been unpleasant. I'm so desperate. Her eyes lock with yours. Does your daughter have any friends she might be staying with? Classmates, sports club members, anything like that? Dahlia silently shakes her head. Very strange. You're about to ask if the girl at least had imaginary friends, but you hold back. What about Tabitha's father? Are you separated? Often children reappear with family members. Dahlia smiles sadly. My little one can't swim well enough for that yet. Your pen remains on the same spot on the notepad. What was that supposed to mean? Dahlia is about to continue, and you let her talk. Dahlia turns her gaze away from you and looks dreamily, no, longingly, out of the window. Her father was a fisherman, like most in the village. A few years ago he went out to sea but never returned. His boat was washed ashore weeks later. His colleagues told me that he had finally followed the call of the waves. You keep quiet for a moment. Deceased family members are always a sensitive subject. My sincere condolences. She seems calm. Oh, somehow I always knew that moment would come. I think my husband's in a better place now, and at some point, I'll join him. You take a closer look at Dahlia's outfit. Judging by her behavior and clothes, you never would have taken her to be a fisherman's wife. You inquire about more details of the case. I have no further questions, you mumble. More to yourself than to her. Dahlia stretches her neck imperceptibly. No doubt she would like to take a look at your notebook. Your pen hovers over the notes you've taken. Missing daughter, dodgy lady. That's it. You've worked with less. Are you going to take the case or not? There's multiple endings to this game. And in the book, it wasn't a detective. I believe the person who went to Innsmouth is a journalist or a reporter, something of the sort. They went to Innsmouth out of curiosity or explorative spirit. For now, since this game contains multiple endings, let's choose the first obvious ending that there is, which is reject the case. I'm sorry, lady, but it's not for me. Even though your bank account balance is critical, you can't bring yourself to take this case. You know that accepting it would be a mistake, without knowing exactly why. Dahlia seems so annoyed by now that she accepts your rejection without grumbling. She struts wordlessly out of your office and your life. Nearly time to go home. Finally, you're stretched out on your couch. A black and white mystery series flickers on the TV. Your blood alcohol level has reached past that pleasant point beyond no longer able to drive, but still well before everything that went in has to come back out again. Next episode, the TV asks rhetorically. Sure, go ahead. The next episode, to serve men. You sigh. If only the supernatural would knock at your door. You sure as hell wouldn't miss that opportunity. Oh, but we did. First ending of the series, let's call it a day. You reject the mission. Adventure? Thanks, but no thanks. Let's load the last chapter. And I'll get back to you guys once I get back to the actual point of endings. Alright, so welcome back to chapter 1. We're finally here. I've decided to accept the case but charge a little extra since she's keeping details from us. We nod, a missing persons case. Nothing unusual. The conventional little girl runs away from home after reading her first romance novel. Usually they hide at the edge of a forest or in a library. Should be pretty straightforward. Before you can say anything, she drops a photo of the child and a roll of bills on your desk. for your expenses. You nod slowly, trying not to drool down the front of your shirt. You haven't seen this much money in ages. You don't have much time to prepare. A quick search reveals that only one bus goes to Innsmouth, and only once a day. A pattern emerges in your research. The few new items related to this little coastal town are all about missing persons. Ooh. In addition, you find some rather old fashioned articles that praise the coastal town as a secret holiday destination. The best fish, untouched beach promenade, authentic fishing people are the recurring buzzwords. Dahlia has given you the address at which you're supposed to drop off her daughter as soon as you find her. She also wrote down her phone number on the child's photo. You take another look at the picture before you pack your things. The next morning you travel. Hmm. Let's go by bus. In the book, our main character traveled by bus. Boston, the 22nd of September. Your journey begins at a busy bus station. There is supposed to be a bus line that departs from here to Innsmouth. Buses, you think to yourself, are not only an environmentally friendly means of transportation, they are also easy on your wallet. Sadly, the departure boards aren't of much help. New York, Maine, Rhode Island, no trace of Innsmouth as a destination. You wander around for a while until you notice a cleaner eating a sandwich on the side of one of the vending machines. You look around and talk to the cleaner. Excuse me, where can I find the bus to Inns? Without letting go of his sandwich, the cleaner points to an abandoned counter in the dingiest corner that a public bus station could be capable of. The man gives you a nod, indicating that anything that can be said has indeed been said. You find that the counter is elaborately decorated with cobwebs. It's a bit early for Halloween preparations, but at least someone's made an effort. At the moment, nobody seems to be there. You press your face against the plastic window to peer into the room behind. Hello? Hello? Is anyone there? I have to go to Innsmouth. No one there. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a bus ticket appears on the counter. Might the trip be free? Should you leave a payment? I'd leave a donation. You're a staunch defender of the law. It goes without saying that you pay. You put a few coins in the bowl underneath the foggy glass window. Hopefully, they won't be stolen by the next passenger. Even if someone were sitting behind the counter, you just wouldn't be able to see him. It's just too dark. You're distracted for a few seconds, and suddenly there's some change on the counter. What's that in amongst the coins? A small golden fishing hook. How strange. Where's this bus hiding? In between the polished greyhounds and travelers stowing their luggage, saying goodbye and dropping tiredly onto their seats, there's a kind of dumpster. A dumpster with windows and wheels? No, it's actually a bus. It's a bit on the rusty side, and even from the distance you can sense the strange smell it emits. Is that sulfur? You're not convinced how this thing is supposed to drive. In its vicinity, everything is noticeably quieter than at the other bus stops. The people getting on show no sign of emotion. Nobody's trying to jump the queue here. Instead, the passengers move past the bus driver at a uniform speed, one after the other, shuffling up the creaking steps. Each two-seater bench is occupied by individuals, as if they want to make sure to not come into contact with their fellow passengers. The sign clearly says Innsmouth. No departure times, no stopovers, just Innsmouth. Undecided, you're standing on the stairs of the bus. Show your ticket. There was no reaction. At least you can't make out a reaction. The lighting is poor and the shadow of his dusty driver's cap covers almost his entire face. You notice something strange on his neck, but you can't quite make out what it might be. You're standing in the door waiting for an okay, a nod, anything. The sulfur odor has increased. A queue has formed behind you, but no one is pushing or complaining. The people wait quietly and patiently. We keep walking. You shuffle sideways through the center aisle. You don't remember the bus looking this long from the outside. You are surrounded by shabby two-seater benches and some are already occupied. One traveler per row. The last bench is free. Looks like the upholstery's been torn in some places though. Or has it been slit open? You can see springs with sharp wire edges as some sticky liquid seems to have leaked onto the floor. Why didn't you just sit down in one of the free rows? Here in the back, almost everything is occupied. Most of the passengers seem to have purposely sat down in the aisle seats, blocking off the window seats. Maybe this is an opportunity to get a little closer to the common Innsmouth visitor. You gaze at the rows of seats, and off to the rear bench we go. You've always been the cool outsider. At least that's what you like to tell yourself. So you take the back row, which you have all for yourself. The right won't take that long, will it? You should pay a little more attention to the map. The smell of sulfur rises in your nose again. You try to sit down carefully without tearing your clothes on the wire springs of the seat cushion. Suddenly, a jolt. You can't balance and you're pressed into your seat by the most mysterious of all invisible forces, gravity. The bus starts without any warning. Because of the abrupt start, a bunch of yellowed paper has rolled across the dirty floor right in front of your feet. You pick it up. Look at that. A newspaper. Innsmouth Illustrated. From April last year. How useful. Hmm. Comfy. Wonderful. Heaven. You lean back and spread your arms over the other headrests while the bus, with its stuttering engine, leaves town. That worked out quite well, especially if you ignore the little hiccups before. Satisfied with yourself, you're surveying the ranks of other passengers. Whoa, dandruff shampoo must be worth pure gold in Innsmouth. An army of balding heads stretches out before you. The sight makes you feel slightly queasy in your stomach. Maybe something in the water? Oh, if only you knew, my sweet summer child. Your mind starts to roam restlessly. To Dahlia, to the money you'll soon be storing under your pillow, and of course, to this free vacation in a coastal town. In your mind, you already come up with a list of fish dishes you want to try. Ah, the people are the fish. The bus has turned onto an empty country road now, and you see uncultivated fields rumble past you. The warm, stuffy air in the bus makes you sleepy. Just before you close your eyes, you could swear that several passengers are turning their heads surreptitiously towards you. What the? The bus leaves the country road and turns off at a wooden sign that says Innsmouth in red, flaky letters. The journey continues rather bumpily. along a narrow dirt road littered with numerous potholes. Yikes. In the distance, some houses are already visible. Seagulls circling the roofs of the outermost edge of the city. Slowly, all passengers take their bags out from under the seats and get ready. Curiously, you look through the side window. That's odd. The bus passes by a huge... What is this? A scrapyard? A parking lot? Why would something like this be here, right outside the city? You pass another wooden sign whose half-peeled writing advertises the Innsmouth Park and Ride area. A lot of cars look like they've been sitting here for years. Sand covers some of the bonnets and windscreens. The front of the bus opens with a squeak. The front door of the bus opens with a squeak, and you join the monotonous line of locals stepping out of the bus as if in a daze. Almost walking in step, you all get closer to the exit. As you walk down the steps, you have to protect your eyes from the sunlight. Turns out the windows of the bus were tinted. The other passengers shuffle off. Ooh. Finally, Innsmouth. You examine your surroundings while you stretch your legs, trying to unwind from the stressful journey. No artist could have adequately captured the serenity and beauty of this place. A clear blue sky lights up the town square, which is paved with bright limestone and surrounded by neo-colonial buildings reminiscent of 19th century New England. A fresh sea breeze, crying seagulls, and locals going about their business. In the center of the square, water trickles from a fountain. As you stretch your limbs and breathe in the clean air, you're suddenly startled by the water feature right in front of you. The fountain is an enormous fish-like brass creature. An open jaw lined with shark-like fangs spouts brackish water down its massive, inhumanly contorted body. As if that wasn't enough, there appear to be human bodies squirming underneath its massive claws. Their faces are as contorted as yours is right now. How long have we been standing here? Eyes wide open in shock, you feel utterly paralyzed. You start to scan the town square and notice more and more disturbing details. On every corner you spot ornamental statues and reliefs of fish. But these are not your classic harmless kind of fish. These are pagan symbols and grimaces of supernatural creatures from the darkest crevices of the deep sea. In the surrounding houses, you can see faces pressed against the windows. All the locals appear to be watching you. You suddenly start to think that the cries of the seagulls sound particularly human-like. They sound like humans crying out in pain. What happened to the idyllic scene from a few moments ago? Welcome to Innsmouth. You turn around. How nice of you to visit! A small elderly woman waves at you from afar. She beams at you as if you were her long-lost grandchild. She seems very different to the boors you've met so far on the bus into town. Her squealing shakes you out of your nightmarish panic. It's so good to have you here. I've noticed you're very taken by our local fountain. It was built in 1704 by Abdul Necrotis, our favorite artist and friend of Charles Dexter Tillinghast, the founder of Innsmouth. The central figure was a present, and it was supposed to commemorate their travels together to Cairo. You can clearly see the Egyptian influences in Necrotis' work here and here. She points wildly in every direction. And here! But I'm sure you've already noticed this yourself. You look like someone who knows his way around art, she says with a wide smile. You're still in shock. She beams at you. Of course. I'm an art historian, of course. She enthusiastically starts clapping and squealing. A small, plump person in a garish costume who finishes off all her sentences with a delighted chuckle. Oh, I noticed that at once! How rude of me! I haven't even introduced myself. My name is Muriel Pooping Place. I'm the director of the Parks Commission, chief tourism officer, and the head of the welcoming committee. Ta-da! Huh. Jesus, lady. You're a lot. Behind Muriel, there's a ramshackle wooden information stand lovingly decorated with balloons. A colorful painted sign reads, "Welcome to Innsmouth." Muriel tiptoes over her information stand and picks up a whole load of flyers and leaflets from the rickety display cases. She looks down at all the paper in her arms and briefly shrieks with laughter. My goodness, why don't you take this city map to begin with? Useful. You take the map and put it into your coat pocket. Would you like to find out more about our wonderful town, which has been awarded the East Coast Stunning Town Award for several years in a row? And would you? Sure. Why not? Maybe more information? Muriel claps her hands excitedly and squeals. She begins unfolding one of her maps and points at 3 different locations in the town. The town center here should be the next stop on your trip. There's a lively up-and-coming shopping street in Innsmouth, and since May, our local fountain has even had real running water. Muriel starts waving her index finger at you. I know what you're thinking. This town is being too showy for its own good. But I can assure you, we've kept all our feet on the ground, even after the whole thing with the East Coast Stunning Town Awards. Her finger now points to a different area on the map. The old town of Innsmouth is completely preserved. You'd think nothing was ever done to the facades of the old houses. Within 4 miles of here, you won't find any new builds. Your face has unwillingly slipped into an expressionless mask due to the sheer boredom of it all. And then, Muriel points to the coastline on the map. The amazing beach promenade, a dreamy beach with a bar that serves all the drinks your heart desires. I hope you brought enough stress with you, because at the beach, pure relaxation awaits you. The small woman chortles. Thank her. Thanks ever so much, ma'am. Muriel seems delighted. Nothing gives me more pleasure than ensuring visitors have a great time in our pretty little town. Will you be staying for a few nights? I can only recommend staying as long as you can. There's just so much to see. Trust me, by the end of your stay, you won't want to leave. Considering this was inspired by H.P Lovecraft. That feels ominous of a statement. How long are you going to stay? How long did the journalist stay in the books? I can't remember, was it overnight? Only overnight. A spur-of-the-moment trip? You've come to the right place. For an authentic experience, you should book into one of Innsmouth's famous guest houses. There's the Gilman Hotel, rustic Irish pub, the Mad Arab, and several smaller B&Bs. If you sign up to our newsletter, the town of Innsmouth will give you a free night plus a welcome drink. Muriel looks at you expectantly. Oh gods, woman, don't try to scam me into this. I really need to go now. You've had enough now. You point at your wrist while backing away. Still so much to see, you know? Thanks again ever so much for everything. Muriel's eyes move past you and settle on a tourist family right behind you. Seemingly at the flick of a switch, she's back to her gleeful demeanor, bouncing over to the family and waving her brochures. Oh, thank God the extroverted woman is gone. Whew. You head further into town along the cobbled road in the direction of the coast. Not long ago, the sun was bright in the sky, but already the first wafts of mist are creeping into the streets. The air feels thicker, and the sun can no longer penetrate the fog. Time to think about where you want to go. You slow down. You lean your briefcase against the wall and start pacing up and down the quiet alleyway. You've got an important choice to make right now. The city center is in the north. Even from afar, you can see the outlines of the old and ornately decorated buildings in the main town square. Here, you should find the police station, the main shopping street, and of course, the town hall. As a coastal town, Innsmouth also has a harbor. From your research, you found out that this is a bustling area with a dreamy beach. You expect there to be mostly tourists. According to your research, the only hotel in town, the Gilman Hotel, is located in the old town. You think about checking in. You could do with freshening up and getting rid of that bus smell that is still clinging to your clothes. Just as you are about to set off, your heart leaps into your throat. You've forgotten your briefcase. This has never happened to you. You usually take good care of the little you possess. There's nothing you can do about it this now. You just have to wait until your return journey to find out whether someone has handed it in at the Lost and Found. Still, you could swear that the briefcase was already gone when you got off the bus. I just set it down! What? Uh, what's happening? Is it the mist? You decide on the Gilman Hotel. You recognized its roof from afar, and after a long walk, it is now before you in full splendor, the Gilman Hotel. At least it's easy to see that it once must have been a gorgeous building. The hotel resembles an old English country estate, but in its present state, it would be suited as the setting for a very predictable film about teenagers and chainsaw killers. Wild and withered ivy has a firm grip on the walls and obscure the details of the richly decorated facade. A gallery of gargoyles, melted into unreal shapes by acid rain and acidic pigeon droppings, lines the roof. The many window panes that have been neglected for years. Only in a few places has a small area have been wiped clean in order to see outside. There are two cars in the parking lot. A vintage car with large rust spots and a large gray van. The kind of van you've always been warned about as a child. Let's inspect without being too obvious. Let's walk around the hotel. You decide to go for a little walk around the estate. Your initial impression of neglect and decay is confirmed on the other side of the hotel. You pass a small garden which once must have been very beautiful. That is, until the person in charge discovered alcohol as a more fulfilling hobby for himself. Between weeds and waist-high patches of grass, you find tons of bottles, almost all of them the high-proof kind. Further back, you find piles of discarded furniture half hidden in the bushes. It seems as if they came from the hotel and someone was simply too stingy or lazy to call the bulk waste collection. The furniture seems to have been lying here for some time, and the rain has made the wood wet and moldy. The chairs and tables are smashed, and the mattress is tattered and full of rusty brown stains. Without a doubt, um, without a doubt, why? This is a hotel. Sure, the last leg of your tour takes you past the side exit of the hotel. Judging by the smell, there's fish on the menu, and the garbage truck clearly comes by on an irregular basis. Yeah, why would a business that relies so heavily on first impressions let the facade of their building deteriorate like this? The Gilman Hotel is probably the only one of its kind in Innsmouth. It's either here or sleeping on the beach. You really hope the inside of the hotel has been looked after a little better than the outside, but you're quickly disabused of that notion. The massive wooden door is difficult to open. Shouldn't the staff be doing this anyway? With a loud creaking sound from the hinges and an exhausted puffing and panting on your part, you manage to open the door and enter the lobby of the Gilman Hotel. You wonder if guests are even welcome in this place. The room is sparsely lit. There are impressive chandeliers hanging from the ceiling, which, if working, would perhaps not quite give the grand hall back its original splendor, but at least convey more warmth. Your first steps tell you that there are rotting floorboards hiding underneath the thick carpet. The green wall paneling and wallpaper also appear rotten and musty. Ew! Yikes. Sort of wet. Oh, what choice do we have? Go to the reception. Before you let yourself be distracted by the questionable interior design and the associated health issues, you walk purposefully towards the reception desk. A small, greenish creature stands behind the counter. The loudly humming ceiling lamp above harshly illuminates his silhouette and gives his face hard edges. You can make out every individual speck of dust and dandruff on his dark green velvet collar and crooked shoulders. Jesus. Maybe they should be dimming the lights after all. The figure smiles at you. Or perhaps it's more of a grin? His face unsettles you. You lean forward at an angle to get a better look at him. The corners of his mouth reach all the way up to his dried up ears. His smile looks like it's painted on. You see someone like that standing in front of you in a strange town that gave you the heebie-jeebies, and you're not freaked out? Something, hmm, either the mental strength of our main character is something to look up to, or he's entirely oblivious. His beady eyes lie deep in the cavity of his skull and seem to stare into opposite directions. Has he even blinked yet? And on top of it all, he smells funny. How may I help? You're startled and take a step back. Welcome to the Gilman Hotel. My name is Cornelius Gilman III. How may I be of service to you? The man's gaze remains unchanged, and his unnatural smile still seems to be etched into his face. You're still surprised that he can talk with that expression on his face. Just a moment ago, you could have sworn he was an inanimate puppet. Just like now when he's not speaking. Okay, no, we are not asking him what is wrong with your face. Should we flirt? You know what? Fine. Let's play this the D&D way for a bit. You have beautiful eyes, you whisper, and lean over the counter. Any plans tonight? Yes, the concierge says. Okay, someone's playing hard to get, but two can play that game. You move away from the counter with a heavy heart. I would like to book a room, you begin, and manage not to blurt out. In a different hotel. Perfect! The Gilman Hotel is delighted to be able to welcome you as its guest. May I ask whether you're in Innsmouth for business or pleasure? How long will you be staying with us? Would you prefer a view towards the beach or the skyline of our exciting town? When would you like to be woken up? Do you sleep deeply? Are you traveling alone? Do you have family? Who knows that you're out here? Can I interest you in our spa, fitness, and wellness activities? Would you like to subscribe to our newsletter? Uh, I want beach. Do not wake me up. None of your business. None of your business. None of your business. None of your business. No and no. How long can you hold your breath? Are we done now? Can I go to my room? The concierge's expression did not change a tiny bit for the duration of your conversation. Let alone did he blink. Thank you very much. Oh, that's him. Thank you very much. That was all I needed to know. Now all you need to do is sign here. He tilts his strangely shaped head over to the guest register. Impatiently, you sign with, yeah, let's go with J. Doe. Sadly, we're all booked up this season. There's only one spare room. Here is your key for room 666. Enjoy your stay. You look at the key which has magically appeared on the counter. Then when your eyes slowly wander past the man to the wall, where countless other keys are hanging. What do you mean booked up? Um, if you're gonna try to lie, do so convincingly. What now? Let's continue our search for Tabitha. Thanks so much. At least you've got a bed for tonight. You think it's best not to waste any more time and decide to immediately keep looking for the girl. With quick steps, you hurry out of the building, but you can still feel the eyes of the concierge on you. Time to go and look for Tabitha. Your investigation leads you to the harbor, because her father, you know. Ooh, well, that is a lot of reading, and I feel parched. However, I do like this game. There's 35 chapters. Right now, we're at the third, I believe, and various different endings. I'm still thinking on whether I'll play through the entire game and collect all the endings. However, for now, we may not yet have hit the 1 hour mark, but regardless, I'd say it's time we take a short recess. Once again, my name is Kelby, and it was great to sit here with you. I hope you guys enjoy the narration I'm doing for a game like this. Now, without further ado, this has been the Innsmouth Case. Thank you so much for watching. This episode is now adjourned.